Bheki Cele, and next to him we have General Sitlabane, he is the head of PSS. And Minister, I will hand over to you for the main address. And immediately after the Minister's address, we'll take a round of questions, both from Victoria and Cape Town, and it will bring us to the conclusion of our business this afternoon. Minister, over to you.
Thanks, everybody. Generals, good afternoon. The external stakeholders, if they are here, good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, a very good afternoon to you all. The purpose of the media briefing is to respond and to provide some clarity as to what happened inter alia post the Global Citizen Festival Mandela 100. Let me begin by expressing our sincere sympathy to the festival guests who suffered trauma, loss, and injuries during that period in question. Those incidents of which have been reported to the police should not have happened. We condemn such incidents in the strongest possible terms, and those found to have perpetrated the crimes will be tracked down, and together with those in police custody, they shall face the full might of the law. As the South African Police Service and the Interministerial Committee, we are not here to point fingers as to who was in the wrong. As per the Event Safety and Security Planning Committee, that you will be referring to it as ESSPC, all protocols have been followed and adhered to ensure the successful delivery of the concert, with an exception of what occurred at the Sasol garage, which was unforeseen. Our planning was not extended to the Sasol garage, which is located ±3 km away from the stadium. However, unforeseen circumstances like failure of traffic management and congestion of mobile network pushed fans, people to the garage, which resulted in the chaotic situation. Let us not shift our focus from the fact that the Global Citizen Festival Mandela 100 was an absolute success. We would like to thank everyone involved for their contribution and further apologize on behalf of the ESSPC and IMC and all other people who were involved in the organization of the event for any inconvenience caused, pain, trauma, injuries, and any loss suffered. We have been monitoring social media platforms as well as all other media platforms on how people have been describing their traumatic experience. What we have up to this point is that one person received medical attention for shock and minor injuries after being bumped by a bus. We have also noticed people saying that there were no police to be seen in and around the Sasol garage. We dispute the narrative that no police members was on site. Well, fortunately, I have in my possession a video clip which was sent to me showing a boys in police station van in the midst of the stranded crowd. It's on my phone, those would like to see it. Though that it was sent by the people that were there. They took that photo of the van, the patrons, and sent it. So the narrative that there was no police to be seen in the area could not be very correct, because the van you could see in the midst of all that. And it SABC is the main stakeholder as far as the prevention of crime is, and the lack of prompt response of the police may have exacerbated the situation and presented an opportunity for criminal activities. Once again, I want to reiterate that it must also be acknowledged that the challenges experienced after concert collectively as a government, event organizers and all other stakeholders and patrons must take responsibility. Those who had become victims of such criminality have been encouraged to report to their nearest police stations. Cases that have been reported since the 3rd of December up to now are 50. Thus far, of which 5 are in court. To this end, we want to thank those for adhering to the calls to register cases. Thus far, 15 suspects have been arrested for various crimes committed. We have also called on all police stations, and we are calling on police stations not to turn anyone away that want to open the case there. What has happened, the reports is that people go to police station to open the case, and they are told that go to the police station where the thing happened, which happens to be poison. What we are communicating and calling on the police, open the case wherever people open the case, and police transfer the case to the relevant police station. But they should not turn the people away and to tell them to go to poison. South African has delivered many successful events, and the global festival was policed in line with the classification of the event. The net joints had planned for a successful event, one that was free from incidents. Unfortunately, unforeseen incidents occurred, which are very regrettable. In conclusion, as the South African Police Service, we are committed to ensure that future incidents of this nature will be attended to with utmost efficiency to avoid a repetition of what transpired on Monday morning. Police will, at all relevant times, stay true to our vision to ensure the safety of the citizens of South Africa, although we have to take collective responsibility of what happened. The SABC will never abandon our constitutional responsibility to protect and serve the inhabitants of South Africa and uphold the law. I just want to go to figures that I've given. 15 suspects have been arrested. That puts together almost the whole day. There are people that were arrested earlier on. People that were arrested for this practical and particular time are 6. And those people have been taken to court yesterday and they've been sent back to custody. But others that happened during the day and other things, they have been given the bail. But these in particular, who have been arrested for this chaos after 11:30 are in custody. And 50 cases are reported and are open. We'll be doing further investigations, and there are quite several people that are still going to pick up on this. I just wanted to work and make some clarification around the figures. Thank you very much.
Minister, thank you very much for that address. We move now straight into our Q&A session. I'm going to ask members of the media to please introduce yourself and the media house you're representing. The AN will be my first. Any other takers? Will be second, third. Anyone else? Fourth and fifth. And is there anyone else from Cape Town before we wrap up the site? Sasaka, you'll go last. Thank you very much. Leanne, over to you.
Afternoon, Leanne from ENCA. Can you tell us which charges the suspects have been arrested for, particularly the 6 who were arrested for the incident after the concert? And am I correct that of the 15 people arrested, 6 of them are for the incident post the concert?
Boraine from SABC. Just 2 questions, Minister. Earlier on in the week, there was a statement by the police saying that the area near Sasol was not their responsibility. At which stage now have you now made an able turn to say that you will continue to carry your constitutional responsibilities of maintaining law and order? The second question relates to the police visibility in the area of Sasol.
You say Sasol was not the responsibility of the police. That's what the police said.
That was the statement.
Okay.
And the second question is in relation to the visibility of police at Sasol. I think the question was not really about whether there were police or not. The question was they did not act when they saw all of these incidents happening there. Can you respond to that?
Okay.
Minister Lindsay Dentlinger from Eyewitness News. We have in our possession a plan that clearly shows that the police did not stick to the plan that was agreed to with concert organisers and others. Can you just explain to us how the security plan was devised in the first place, who was involved, and why were there deviations? For example, the plan shows that police officers didn't arrive on time, roads weren't closed off the night before as planned, and that these hiccups were already evident at the Guns N' Roses concert. So why was nothing done to tighten up on that the night before? And secondly, contrary to what you're saying about police were visible at the police station, for example, we've also seen security footage at the stadium that shows, for example, only 5 police officers in a certain area or at a certain gate. Can you just maybe elaborate on, you know, how that comes to be? It just really seemed that there were just very few boots on the ground.
SABC. Minister, if you can just tell us the number of subs that were deployed during the event, and also if you can comment on the arrest of 2 members of the gang unit in Mitchell's Plain. Apparently they were arrested for theft while they stole while raiding a house in that area. Thanks.
Natalie Malchus, Open News. So my questions were asked by both the previous journalists. I just wanted clarity on the number of police officers, the ratio of police officers to concert goers, if that was included in the strategy.
Okay. So it's the same question that has been asked.
Yes, Minister.
Okay, I'm Sisonge Mlamla from the Cape August newspaper. One of my questions was asked about the anti-gang units which were arrested. Another question, on Sunday there was lights, there was Cape Town Festival lights. How involved were the police? Because we also heard that there were some few cases which were registered, and also 2 murders which happened. And how involved were the police on Cape Town lights?
You'll be the last one from Cape Town, sir, right at the back.
Good afternoon, Minister. Paul Hickeyata from Bloomberg. At the First National Bank Stadium, the police would have opened the venue operations centre. Can you just tell us what time that was operational, from what time until what time was it dismissed? And then how many phases were in the operational plan for the First National Bank Stadium? Thank you.
Thank you for that round of questions, Minister, and the panel over to you for responses.
Well, I'll take easy questions and the generals will answer difficult questions. What people were arrested for ANCA, that will be explained by the head of the operation, the General PSS Protection Services. SABC, Sasol was not, police were not responsible for Sasol. That could not have happened, so it can't be so. South African police are responsible for every inch of South Africa to police. There is no inch where South Africans in South Africa can say are not responsible. Maybe that's why it is in the statement to say maybe the planning was not extended to the Sasol garage. And what happened, basically 2 things that pushed people to assemble in Sasol garage. One was the almost total collapse of the management of traffic. So people had to move towards where they believe will find the transport rather than normal areas where it has been planned for, because could not reach there. For the fact that things happened at 2 until 3, 4, which means there was no movement of the people. And one main thing was the congestion of traffic going there. So people move there, trying to access the transport that they were supposed to take home. I'm sure there are new things. Like I always ask, if 5,000 people call Uber at a go, what happens? So maybe are the lessons of sticking to the traditional and tested ways of doing things. That's one. But the second one that many people are saying was not a collapse, but the non-availability of signal when they were phoning. When they started in the stadium, you could not really go out. I remember my guests there, including my wife. I don't know where they got the corner, but I even complained at the later stage. Looks like I'm going alone because we are in your corner trying to get to the. But that was just a norm in the stadium. Looks like that continued as people went out. And the information is that near Sasol, there was better signal. Maybe most people moved towards that. So it is on the score that we accept that there was inadequacy of planning for Sasol initially. That's why when we are trying to say we should have better responded when that happened and promptly so. But to say there is area where there is no responsibility of the South African police to police in South Africa, that cannot be accepted. It cannot be so, because the Constitution tells us very straight what South African police are supposed to do. You say the question was not the visibility of the police. No, maybe that did not come to you. That has been a big cry, as Sasol. Monitoring, and people were using even very expressive words like there was no single police to be seen. That has been said time and again. So I'm saying I have a clip for the police to be seen. That narrative of no police to be seen cannot be correct. But we qualify that event was seen. It doesn't mean that policing there was adequate. It wasn't adequate, and the prompt response could have been still better, increasing those numbers. So if people come and complain and open the cases of police not doing their work, we have ways of working on that. Definitely, if they open and give us information that indeed police did not do their work, South African police will take that up, including if it needs to be on all other structures that will work around it. We won't leave that lying down if they were there but could not assist the people there. But 6 other people were arrested there. 6 other people were arrested there by the metro. But to say then there was no police to be seen, yet 6 people were arrested, and these are the same people that haven't got the bail. So there is a bit of contradiction that there were no police, but 6 people were arrested in the same scene where there was chaos. I don't know how I will put that point when you say there were no visibility, but people were arrested, and those people, as we speak, are in custody. The plan, you have a plan of not having a plan. That I would not understand, because you say in your hand you have a plan of not having a plan to police the situation. I don't know how to answer that question of not having a plan of not having a plan. But the plan, maybe I don't understand the question, what the organizer said to you. But major events in South Africa, by the way, all of you know that South Africa runs major events, major events, whether it's your BRICS, whether it's your AIDS, whether it's your global, whether it's your 2010, it does. These events, they are planned on many different areas. One we said is ESS PC. One is net joint. Other things that will finally come will what is called VOC. I think the gentleman at the back will listen to that question, to that answer. It's come to VOC. VOC is a venue operation center. It's where we operate seeing things. We get a corner where we sit there and we look at that. When the planning was started, the final briefing of the plan took place at about 8 Sunday morning. That was the final briefing of the plan. There were police. There were other structures, like the organizers themselves. There were stadium management. There were people that are running the private security company. There was SSA and many stakeholders. They were in that final briefing. Police in the stadium, the final number I got, people that were involved, I think there were about 260, plus minus 260 that would be there.
Yes, yes.
So that's a figure. And there were 8 companies, not companies, there were 8 security companies that were part of the stadium. I don't have individual figure, but they say it was minus plus 2,000 people out of those 8 companies that were there. So the visibility of the police on 260 people would expect that is there. And then the 2,000, if it is 2,000, but what I'm sure of is that there were 8 private security companies that are there. So I'm not sure about the figures, but they say minus plus 2,000. That gives you almost 460 people that would have been there around the stadium on that one. The joke started before a first person came, because when I came there for final briefing, there was nobody in the stadium except the people that were working. We included going down and speak to Mr.
Evans.
The CEO of the organization. Yes. We offered, because they raised some issues about the movement of the people coming to the stadium. We offered a kennel to permanently be placed on the stage so that they work direct together. Was a permanent from the South African Police kennel, and there was an officer from the Johannesburg Police, so that there is a smooth working from there. They would be receiving information from the stage and take the same information to the VOC that was manned by everybody, including the South African Police, the police from the emergency services of of the city, the traffic people, and everybody was there, visited them before a single person was in the stadium. That would be around about 8:30, 9, visiting them. Well, as the concert dismisses, I think I left the stadium at 12:15. But the National Commissioner was ready to go and address the police at 7 in the morning, after everybody has gone. Unfortunately, he couldn't go there, but the final disperse of the police was at 11 a.m. That was the final disperse of the police. So there was that narrative that I'm sure was from the stadium management, that when the show was off and then the police were left with the people. That is absolutely not true. Including the stadium, a person who was running the stadium, the stadium security, who was on the VOC together with the police, who left with some members of the senior police at 3:30 in the morning, at 3:30 to 4. But the operation was until 7 in the morning. So I don't know this plan of not having the plan. because organizers themselves were part of linking up with us, link them up with the officers. Maybe it will be explained better, really, what having a plan that not having a plan or not adequate plan. Number of the SABs I have said about it. Yeah, Cape Town, you have an advantage of knowing things that other people don't know. Yes, we have arrested two members. It disappoints us, but we are also happy to say it doesn't matter who you are. The guys just got hooked in a small amount of about 15,000. They just got hooked. They stole that money. Surely they'll find some mayors somewhere. They've lost the job, and I'm told they're young people. I'm told they're very young guys. I really sympathize for the wives and the kids and all that. Losing your career if it was money. So this is a call we make to our police every day to say, Ningakhali, do your job, raise the matters with us, let's sit down, let's talk. And there's some form of arrogance of wanting to bribe the owner of the house using the money they've stolen from him. And definitely you can't sympathize with those people. But families, yes, indeed they are young. It pains us because they belong to the few chosen. So you are chosen to do this special extra job on behalf of the people, and this is the way you take. And I have made a call to the senior officers to be hard on them, very hard, to teach the lesson to others that you are sent to do the job, you do the job. Cape Akas, I must say, the first portion of your question of the lights here, every event in South Africa will have police blooding. Every event. There is no event that has got a potential of getting an offhand where the South African police. By the way, there is a law in South Africa that deals with those events, the sports and all that. So police will have to concern at the end of the day if that goes on. If police doesn't concern, it won't. So I would simply say to you, keep that in your mind. But that 2 people died and all, I'm not going to sit here and give you the information that I don't have. The provincial commissioner has not reported for me to understand that, and that information I will take you after I've put. But it doesn't make it an authentic information that the journalist is asking it. Once we get that and we prove that it happened, yes, we'll make the point that it has happened. But the event was policed as that is generic, but the information is the first time that I get it from you. It could be genuine, it could be checked. Too many information you get from journalists that at the end of the day is not. In Westbury, yes. In Westbury, there was a headline from SABC TV saying, after the minister's gone, the man has been gunned down. And no man was gunned down in Westbury. No man was gunned down. And they were arguing that somebody has died. And it's an easiest case, by the way, to prove the death, because there is a dead body. So you are not going to guess that somebody has died or not. That was that. ENCA, there was a big halapaloo by somebody that died near Mother Mandela's house. Nobody that has come from so it doesn't mean that if the journalist asks you the question, knows that thing is true. It doesn't. But allow us the space, all of us, to work on the matter. If it is so, nothing wrong coming back and say you were correct. It's you that you were really running the stuff, Babu Mkwanazi. Why did we arrest those people?
Must I comment?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister.
We are answering and not commenting.
Thank you, Minister. The 6 people who were arrested for common assault and theft.
Okay, I don't know, Minister, whether should I add in terms of the breakdown. In terms of those arrests, thank you, Minister. The first one is the inquest. The person that passed away whilst he was working, which was around the afternoon at the FNP Stadium. And then the other one, we account for fraud. That is the case that was open. And then the other one is the one unlawful protest, which happened around also, I guess it should be around 12 in the afternoon, 1 o'clock. Then robbery. Then we had cases that were reported for robbery, stealing of cell phones and whatever, which we account for 24. And then we've got cases of assault, which were 3, and then 2 for armed robbery, as well as 6 for theft, and then 1 for hijacking. Maybe also, Minister, the question that they raise around the issue of the VOC, maybe one can expand further to say the VOC is basically, as the Minister said, is the venue command center. Now, what time we open, I think the journalist will be aware that when we started the operation, we were only able to take over the stadium, that is the entire stadium, as the security agencies, around 23:30. Now, what it means, it would mean that we started then sweeping the whole stadium, because the understanding and the agreement that we had with the organizers and the stadium is that everything should be on site at that time. So it means by 23:30, then we're responsible for the stadium. It means nobody would access the stadium. Then we started sweeping. Soon after that, then it means there was a first deployment. It means when we sweep, then we had a deployment around the stadium, which we took over until we handed over, which would be the Monday, as the Minister said, that we're able then to give the stadium back to the stadium management at around 7 o'clock. It means 24 hours where personnel would have a day shift, then we'll also have a night shift. Now the venue operation, the VOC itself, it means we started activating, which was the first meeting, which was headed by General Mkhwanazi. It was 5:30. Now mind, again, was saying that already at that time we had a deployment around the stadium, and as well as the stadium was sterile at that point in time. Thank you, Minister.
One more?
Yes, maybe just to add on that one, that as the VOC was open, already we had a team that was in the VOC on the 18th, Saturday in the evening. Remember, we have Guns and Roses that were actually in the same stadium with their event, and they finish on Friday in the morning, so they have to remove everything. Then on Saturday we started 1800 hours. As we started at 5:30 on Sunday in the morning, we're not coming in for the first time. There were already members who were working on Saturday the whole evening, and we took over from them from 5:30. Meaning, as we proceeded to the following day, which was Monday now, when the team that started at 5:30 knock off, there was another team that came in again and take over from them and proceeded until to the time the Minister has mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, and the 2 generals. We'll now cross over to Pretoria for any questions. Again, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself and the media house you're representing. Pretoria, over to you.
Thank you very much, Program Director, that side, and the panel of the Minister. Yes, we do have a question from Pretoria.
This is Zasha from Jacaranda FM. Minister, just for some clarity, whose responsibility would it normally be to say that a certain perimeter needs to be covered on such events? Because even on social media, a lot of people have been complaining that FNB is normally a hotspot for criminals even after soccer games have concluded. So I don't know, is it your responsibility as police or the or a joint initiative between the organizers of the event and the police? Thank you.
Any other takers from Victoria?
I think that was the only question we have from Victoria. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Minister, over to you. Just before Minister, you respond, is there anyone else from Cape Town before we close? I'll take that one question. You have a follow-up? So I'm going to take that question and...
Thank you. I'm Jenny Evans from News 24. May you please clarify, I heard earlier on 50 complaints. I just want to confirm I heard that correctly, and 15 arrests. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, Minister, just following up again from previous question I don't think was answered.
Okay.
Regarding did the police deviate from the security plan? Have you assessed your plan and picked up places where it was deviated from? Because it is certainly the information that's coming to us from people who were involved that the plan was not stuck to.
Thank you very much for those questions. We're now closing the Q&A session. Mr. over to you for responses.
I'll start. The last question interests me, because you get information from the people who were involved, which means they were involved in planning, and they deviated, and they come to tell you that there was a deviation. Because if they were involved in planning, and they tell you that there was a deviation, which means they deviated, I would like to get their names so that they can explain why did they deviate. But answering the question overall, is it Monday morning where we had a assessment in joints?
It's Monday.
Yeah, Monday morning. We had Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning.
Yeah. Or Monday morning was that Monday morning. Yeah. Okay. Tuesday morning we had a thorough post-mortem of the match at the joints where everybody was seated. That is Tuesday. If you look at the statement again, the statement says we are not here for finger pointing. We just want to make that point very clear. And we say we want to be collective. There are things that were supposed to have happened that did not happen. If that is a deviation, I don't believe so. It could have been maybe the unforeseen conditions or situation. One of those was a total collapse of the traffic management. Even in the assessment in Pretoria, there were members of the joints that spent 2.5 hours moving from the stadium to Nasrec. They couldn't reach Nasrec. There's one senior member from presidency. That's 2.5. The one senior member from DECO, who spent 2 hours from stadium to Nasrec, which means there was a collapse of a plan when it comes to the movement of the people and movement of transport going back home. And that resulted, we believe, in the people assembling in Sasol Garage. So there's a question about that. I'll end. So a deviation is when people sit down and take decision that we have agreed on this, but we're stopping this. We agreed on this, but we're stopping this. We have given you the number of the police, the number of the security, and people did not leave their positions. They stayed there. You have just heard when did the police leave. Anyone who tells you anything, I'm told that a certain member of the stadium management or security issued a statement to say police went away. That member, for your information, spent almost an hour giving the input on the briefing, on the meeting where I was sitting. and talking about all of us, what are we going to do? And that member, I'm told, that he has been told by management that we'll have to withdraw the statement because it's not correct. If it's not done, the withdrawal, we know what to do. So wherever you had the deviation, deviation is when you are given a responsibility to do this and you take a decision to move away from that. We don't have that evidence that everybody deviated. The evidence that we have is that the unforeseen circumstances made some collapse in some part of planning, transport being the major one here. Jacaranda, you are asking whose responsibility it is. I've answered that question. It's a responsibility of South African police to take the security and safety of every South African, including people that are visiting there. So Sasol, indeed, is +3- case away. Was not, because things like collapse of traffic management, things like non-availability of signals were not known. So we could not then have planned that people will assemble in 3 kilometers away from the stadium. That's why we're saying some of these things they're giving us new lessons that we'll know next time, but some of these things are things that we're prepared for and did not happen the way that we're prepared for, especially the transport issue. But the issue of Sasol is giving us new lessons. But at no stage we would sit here and we say it was not a responsibility of the police to make that South Africans are safe and we take care of that safety of them. 50, remember we made a call that people must must go report, open the cases at the police station. 50 of those have been reported. 15 people are arrested. They are arrested overall. There is one used to be very popular musician who has been arrested on this one for protesting and earlier on. She has appeared in court, eh?
Yes.
Oh, so yes, yes. We can mention the name, that Messi Pagela, who was arrested for that. Between or among these 15, 6 are those that were arrested for this particular period we are talking about, who have appeared in court but did not get the bail. And then 5 cases are in court, eh?
Yes, Minister.
Yeah, are in court. 5 cases in court, 50 reported, 15 arrested, 9 warned or given the bail, 6 of them in custody. Those are the figures.
So how can 5 be in court if 6 didn't get bail?
5 cases, not 5 people.
Cases.
Okay? Okay.
And 5 cases reported?
Yes. 50. And investigation is continuing.
Journalists are good with numbers.
They better do. Thanks.
Minister, thank you very much for the response, and that brings us to the conclusion of our debate this afternoon. And just another side note to members of the media, tomorrow, Minister will be briefing you guys on SAP as engineer. The media advisor will follow shortly. Thank you.
And so we come out of that briefing, Police Minister Bheki Cele just giving a briefing on the Global Citizen Festival, saying that 6 people were arrested on the evening and that he doesn't necessarily agree that there was no police visibility, but they're on top of things in terms of investigating the crimes that took place at that time. Former Vice Chairperson of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, Dr. Alex Boraine, has died. His family says he passed away this morning at his home in Constantia, Cape Town. 87-year-old Boraine worked alongside Archbishop Desmond Tutu during the TRC from 1996 to 1998. He's well known for being one of the architects of the TRC. The Department of International Relations and Cooperation is holding a memorial service in honor of former Ambassador Mendy Msimang. Msimang was among South Africa's first country representatives abroad after the first democratic